Okay, second holiday concerts for the season. 3 more left, so hopefully you'll all show up for those. Our MC tonight is Father Tim Beering. And our intermission is the Mariachi band Cristo Rey. And our guest conductor is Matt Saxman, one of our premier players all over the band.
Welcome one and all to the amazing Worthington City Band's 4th of July concert as we celebrate our nation's independence. I am a new pastor here in Worthington and very humbled to be a part of this illustrious band. I had a little bit of PTSD when I joined the band because it was my elementary and high school band director, Mr. Peterson, who is normally at the helm. And so just a little anxious on whether or not he was going to require me to turn in my practice cards and have my mom sign that I practiced. As the pastor here at St. Mary's in Worthington, I am following a very recognized pastor, Father Jim Callahan, who has served very faithfully in the greater community for many years. And it is a very fortunate experience for me to follow in somebody's footsteps who have left such a phenomenal imprint on the greater community, and in particular on the immigrant community, in which he has been so very welcoming and helpful. And so what a great honor it is for me as the pastor of Cristo Rey to also officially welcome them as part of our intermission today. The 4th of July, or Independence Day, is arguably America's favorite holiday. The day commemorates when the U.S. gained its independence, and so historically the day is filled with celebrations. One of the most colorful and interesting celebrations of our year. It's a time to gather with family and friends and neighbors, a time to enjoy food, listen to great music, and just simply have a great time. As we know, Independence Day commemorates the day in 1776 that the Declaration of Independence was announced. At that time, the United States existed as 13 colonies that belonged to Great Britain. And we know that the two had been at war for more than a year, but relations had been deteriorating for quite some time. And the colonies wanted to govern themselves, as it had been an ongoing problem for both parties. And so in July 1776, the Declaration of Independence was put in place, declaring that the colonies in the U.S. would become independent states and no longer operate under British rule. Congress voted to declare independence on July 2nd, and it was announced 2 days later on July 4th. And that leads, again, to our annual celebration tonight. Tonight, the concert begins with the patriotic march, the national emblem. Composer Eugene Begley wrote this march in 1902 while on a train tour with his family band. He became so frustrated with the ending that he threw away this score. Luckily, members of the band retrieved it and secretly rehearsed the song in the baggage car. Minutes before the next concert, the band surprised Begley with their performance. And, to his surprise, it became his most famous march. Thanks to that persistent family, we can now share this American classic with you. Please enjoy the National Emblem March. Several people had texted me and said, do you know if we're going to be here or in the auditorium? And I actually wrongly assumed the auditorium. I mean, we've been like Ireland or Seattle. We're starting to grow gills, most of us, with all the rain. I know that they sprayed earlier for mosquitoes, and I couldn't guarantee there would be no mosquitoes, so I ended up wearing my clerical clothing, which does come in handy, because if I take off my white collar and read the inside, it says removes fleas and ticks for up to 6 months. So there you go, and if you want one, I have extras in the glove compartment. In the Catholic Church, there is no call process. In the Catholic Church, we are actually called by a bishop to come to a community. And so when I was asked to leave, most recently, St. Charles and Eota, which is in southeast Minnesota, to come here to Worthington, I have to admit, it was bittersweet. The bitter part was leaving a community that I've grown in love with over the past many years. The sweet part is actually returning home. And what I mean by that is I grew up 17 miles north of here. Fulda is where I went to school, as I shared. Grew up on the family farm near Reading, Wilmont area there, Iona, and so grateful to be back home. I know Worthington well, especially during my junior and senior years of high school. I bought my 1978 Caprice Classic from DeBoer Chevrolet in Leota. I wish I had it today. It would really be a classic. And I would take it and I would cruise Oxford Street back and forth, back and forth. Now, ever since arriving here in October, when a middle-aged woman says to me, "Do you remember me?" I have to admit I get very nervous as I have a flashback to my junior and senior year of high school. I think that's one of the reasons they redid Oxford, knowing that I was coming to town. I couldn't do the cruising anymore. A lot has changed, certainly, since my time here growing up 30-some years ago. There's no longer the Pizza Hut where we used to hang out, or the Godfather's Pizza, or even the mall for that matter. But what has been a constant is the love for our country. And whether our families have arrived generations ago or are recent immigrants, there is a great respect for family that I admire here in Worthington. This constant is acknowledged in this next song, "You're a Grand Old Flag." It is a spirited march written by George Cohen in 1906 as a tribute to the United States flag. One day he found himself near a Civil War veteran who fought at Gettysburg. He was holding a carefully folded but ragged old flag. The man reportedly turned to Cohen and said, "She's a grand old," now this is the quote, it's disrespectful, but this is the quote, "rag." She's a grand old rag. Now, he thought it was a great line, and he used it for the title of the song. But of course, there have been numerous objections, and so he switched the title from rag to flag. It was originally written for the stage musical George Washington Jr. and became the first song from a musical to sell over 1 million copies of sheet music. Clap along if you will, "You're a Grand Old Flag." My arrival to Worthington has been warmly greeted with other pastors in various denominations that have been part of the ministerial. I was excited to know that some of the pastors are part of the band, Pastor Stewart and Smith and Lammers, and it's great to see so many involvement within this ecumenical and spiritual community of Worthington. One of the things that we just did most recently that I was excited to see in the midst of such challenges with the flooding that has occurred here and also in the vicinity of our community, Pastor Ann Hockenstead, who's at American Lutheran, with some of her neighbors, got together, Neighbors Helping Neighbors. It's the brainchild of Suzanne Murphy and Lisa Schutte of our community to coordinate relief effort for people and to bring resources to help those affected by the flooding. Now, what I've noticed, and I recognized this already over a week ago, we were having a rehearsal and I was talking with two of the pastors here and saying, you know, it's difficult because you want to do something right away, but also our lives go on, and so there's some guilt that is associated with that. We want to do something, so what can we do? So this again is an invitation for any of you to get involved. Right now we are collecting specifically cleaning products. So cleaning products to help people in some way get back on their feet. If you have social media, it's available, the details. The various ministerial groups and churches have that information. And we're going to be collecting it not only in these churches, specifically American Lutheran, American Reformed, St. Mary's Catholic, Living Waters Covenant, and First Lutheran Church. But other churches will be joining along as well, so we can gather at the fairgrounds to distribute these cleaning supplies. Now also the Globe will have information, and this will be available in various print as well. So again, I want to give a neighborly vote of confidence and gratitude to both Suzanne and Lisa for helping to start Neighbors Helping Neighbors. Certainly this organization is all about showing, again, during time of need, how we show what America is all about. This Is My Country is the next song, and it really allows us to see the beautiful gift of our country. The songwriter and vaudevillian Don Ray first wrote the lyrics in 1940, and then his friend Al Jacobs composed the music. It was originally recorded in 1942 by Fred Waring and his Pennsylvanians. And today the song is played nightly at the end of both Disneyland and Disney World's fireworks shows. So sit back and enjoy this patriotic melody. This is my country. For those of you that are musicians can certainly recognize the strong chords in that last measure of this song, and again shows the talented musicality of this entire organization. So again, let's give it up once again for the amazing Worthington City Band. Certainly lots and lots of talent. You know, growing up again in the area, I found myself going to the Turkey Day Parade on a yearly basis. And even prior to being able to march myself in the parade, one of the things that I learned as a kid was how to get the candy. Instead of standing up running to the candy, you would do it like this. Thank you for the courtesy laugh. You would do that so you didn't have to use a lot of extra energy to get the candy. Now, over time, I noticed there was a beer truck that began to also bring by their beer to the various people watching the program. And this is what would happen. The adults wouldn't stand up and go to the beer truck. They too would as fast as they could. So, with that being said, with the sprinkles, I'm going to move ahead a little bit here so we can get going to our last song before the intermission. Who doesn't like a parade? American Patrol. This song, written in a patrol format, represents a military band in formation. See if you can listen to the following songs: Columbia, The Gem of the Ocean, and Dixie. It's played as a parade is going by. And now our intermission and entertainment this week is provided by the mariachi band Cristo Rey. With origins in Mexico, this particular group, actually most are from Guatemala, which is the largest immigrant, newer community immigration that has joined Worthington. And so one of the members, their family immigrated here from Mexico, but mostly here from Guatemala. Please join me with a warm welcome and less rain welcome to the mariachi band Cristo Rey.
Buenas tardes a cada uno de ustedes, sean bienvenidos hoy en esta tarde. Nosotros como Mariachi Cristo Rey tenemos el honor y la dicha de presentar 3 canciones que tenemos para cada uno de ustedes. Esperamos que les gusten y nos acompañan en estos momentos. Y dice Mariachi. Y échale mariachis, vamos ustedes pueden. Negrita de mis pesares, ojos de papel volando, negrita de mis pesares, ojos de papel volando, a todos diles que sí, pero no los digas cuando así me dijiste a mí, por eso vivo penando. Cuando traes a mi nena que la quiero ver aquí, con su rebozo de seda aquí no te quedes de ti. Cuando traes a mi nena que la quiero ver aquí, con su rebozo de seda aquí no te quedes de ti. Eso Belenice, que se oiga. Fuertes aplausos ahí al mariachi que está con ustedes en esta tarde. Claro que sí, fuertes aplausos ahí al mariachi que está con ustedes en esta tarde. Por eso vamos a cantar otra canción que dice Guadalajara. Guadalajara, Guadalajara. Tienes el alma de pronunciarla, hueles a limpia rosa temprano. Ave de caras frescas de río, son mis palomos tu caserío. Guadalajara, Guadalajara, tienes el alma más mexicana. Y échale mi violinista que se oiga. Estos trompetistas. Ay, 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 ay. Guadalajara hermosa, quiero decirte una cosa. Tú que conservas agua del pozo de tus mujeres al río, Guadalajara, Guadalajara, tienes el alma más mexicana. Que se oiga bonito, mariachi. lomitos lejanos. Ay, ojitos de agua, hermano. Hay colomitos inolvidables, inolvidables como las tardes en que la lluvia desde la loma no nos dejaba ir a Zapopan. Claro que sí, vamos a seguir con otra canción más al estilo Mariachi Cristo Rey. ¡Eso, qué bonito se oye! ¡Eso, violinista! Que se oigan. Eso, violinista. Y póngale bonito como ustedes pueden. Mi bajista que se oiga hacia abajo. Que se oiga. Esto es el Mariachi Cristo Rey.
Test, test.
And as we look at the app, it looks like about 10 more minutes of little sprinkles and things, nothing big or yellow or green or, oh, wait a minute, it is green, not yellow or reds. But, so about 10 minutes of little sprinkles here that are coming through yet. So hang in there and we'll continue on. Let's go.
So next we have the Candy March, and so we want to have all of the kids come on up. This is your time to participate with us. It's fun little event. If you come up by the stage, we have some candy for you. And that candy is thanks to Johnson Jewelry and the Stag. They've been providing the candy for this entire season. So we're going to start the second half of our program with the Candy March. And the song that we are doing is Aces of the Air. It is written with a colorful march composed in 1942 while directing the Fort Dodge, Iowa Municipal Band. After 10 years of touring and composing marches for circus bands, King settled down to open his music publishing business and became the director of the Fort Dodge Band for 51 years. So, King also became one of the first composers to write music specifically for America's growing school band program. So, kids, come on up for the Candy March with this song, Aces of the Air. Excuse me for 1 second. Yes, Phil. Phil Schreck, please. Phil Schreck, I just want you to know that we pastors always get blamed for the weather. I think you need to take some of the responsibility. So Phil Schreck, Dakota News Now. Yeah, these are not sprinkles that we have in Worthington. This is a little bit more than sprinkles. So thank you. And we will do our best to do the next song. For all of you, whether you leave or not, we do not take offense to that. We practice, so we want to do our program. So, up next, we are going to perform for you, God Bless America. Our town was founded by Yankee immigrants from New England and upstate New York who were descended from the English Puritans. And in 1871, Professor Ransom Humiston, is that how you say it, Humiston? Okay, thank you. Of Cleveland, Ohio, and Dr. A.P. Miller, editor of the Toledo Blade, organized a company to locate a colony of New England settlers. They were primarily members of the Congregational Church, though due to the Second Great Awakening, many of them had converted to Methodism, Presbyterianism, and some had become Baptists before coming here. This town was to be a village of temperance, a place where evangelical Methodists, Presbyterians, Congregationalists, and Baptists could live free of the temptations of alcohol. A town was plotted and the name was changed from Okabena Railway Station to Worthington, named after Miller's mother-in-law's maiden name. Now that same year, a curious event took place on the 4th of July. Hearing that there was a keg of beer in the Worthington House Hotel, Humiston entered the hotel, seized the keg, dragged it outside, and destroyed it with an axe. Now a witness described what happened next. Upon seeing this, the young men of the town thought it to be rather an imposition and collected together, procured the services of the band, and under the direction of a military officer, marched to the rear of the hotel with the wheelbarrow and shovel, took the empty keg that had been broken open, and playing the Dead March with flag and half-staff, marched to the flagpole in front of Humiston's office, where they dug a grave and gave the empty keg a burial with all the honors of a soldier's funeral. Imagine that. This is part of our history. Then they ended up getting another keg of beer. Sorry for those that wanted to follow temperance. They burned an effigy of Humiston, and about 10 p.m., the 4th of July had never been the same again in Worthington. Next, we have George Cohen's song, Yankee Doodle Boy, also known as I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. This patriotic song is from the 1904 Broadway musical Little Johnny Jones. The play concerns the trials of a fictional American jockey, Johnny Jones, who rides a horse named Yankee Doodle in the English Derby. Cohen also weaves snippets of several traditional American songs in his lyrics. Interestingly, the lyrics state Cohen was born on the 4th of July, but his real birthday was July 3rd. Tap your feet to our version of Yankee Doodle Boy. The amazing Worthington City Band is made up of very talented individuals with different professions and walks of life. This last evening, we had another concert. Of course, it's the regular Wednesday evening concert at 7:30 p.m. We do want to invite you to keep coming back for our concert series. Always an enjoyable part of what we do is performing for you. So again, we want to thank you for sticking it out with the weather. So thank you so much for being an excellent crowd tonight. I told you that I had a little PTSD because my band director from school, Mr. Peterson, I can't call him Michael, is the current director, with the guest tonight being Matt Saxman. But I wanted to also acknowledge that last night in conversation with the people next to me, I'm like, so what do you do? What's your profession? And one person says, I'm a microbiologist engineer. The next person next to me says, I'm a radiologist. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so this is amazing. I mean, all walks of life, all talents, and this is a phenomenal band. Aren't we blessed to have this in our community? I really apologize to the band and to all of you because I really want to do this, so hold on one second. Smile. That'll be on Instagram, all right. Now, I was told I could tell jokes, and I'm really not a joke teller. My congregation knows that first of all, I usually don't tell jokes, and second of all, I don't have a podium. So this has been a crutch for me tonight. Normally I do it off the cuff, come Holy Spirit. So I want to do it off the cuff for just a moment here. This past weekend, my church had a fundraiser. It was a very good, successful fundraiser. I want to give the idea to you for your various congregations, for those of you that attend church. This was a success. What we did is we made the decision to have the offering before the beginning of the 9 o'clock service. And what we did is we had people ready to go to count the collection ahead of time. And whoever was able to donate the most money before we started the service could actually pick the 4 hymns that we did for the service. So I was very happy to know that Gladys, I can't use her last name, donated $5,000. And so she was excited to come up and stand next to me as she chose the hymns in front of the entire gathered congregation. Some of you were there and you're shaking your head. I recall this. So there was Gladys. She's a 95-year-old widow, and she was standing up there very, very happy that her donation was the largest. As she said, I choose him and him and him and him. Thank you very much. All right. I normally don't tell jokes. I do have the privilege of having the wisdom of one of our band members that shared the background on the music, and I love this final song that we are performing tonight. It is one of John Philip Sousa's most famous marches, The Stars and Stripes Forever. We all know it. We recognize it. It has been a huge success from the very beginning, although there was a period in time in which it was not to be played except during times of disaster, so it became known as a disaster march. But thankfully, we don't use it anymore with that. It is an amazing song for an amazing band. Give it up once again for the amazing Worthington City Band playing The Stars and Stripes Forever.
Thank you for coming and joining us. We love music and we love having you here so that we can enjoy it together. We are having another concert coming up next Wednesday, so come and join us here in the park. We're going to finish our concert tonight with the Star Spangled Banner and America the Beautiful. But we want to thank, first of all, Father Tim. Let's give him a hand. Thanks, Father Tim. I got to remember that one. Him, and him. Oh, yeah. And how about that band? Oh, my goodness. All right. Let's give them a hand. That was the Cristo Deo. Tell me, what is Cristo Deo band? What does it mean, Cristo Deo? Christ? Cristo Rey. Cristo Rey means Christ. Christ the King. Christ the King? Yeah, okay. And we believe that. Christ the King. So enjoy these last two songs with us. And let's give a hand to Matt Saxman for our directing tonight. Okay. Have a great time and a safe journey going home on 4th of July, 2024.